Hi, this is Denise Dryden, and I'm out here on Bainbridge Island, and I did a live video this morning, and I didn't like it, so I'm going to do it again, and bring up some things that I didn't think about prior, and embellish and sort of like fluff out the previous presentation. So, let's see. First and foremost, I want to talk about the third spot. The topic is a third spot, a different option, something else to consider. And today is November 11th. And 100 years ago today, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, in 1918, was when the World War I allies and the Germans met together in Versailles in the Hall of Mirrors to sign an armistice, which is a peace treaty, an agreement to stop fighting. Now, the reason that this is important for our topic today, number one, is because as a historian, I get to sort of play a little bit around in a field that I actually had a blast studying when I was in college. I did my senior thesis on World War I trench warfare. And what I noticed was that as the European World War I kept going, there became a spot where they became entrenched. They were stuck. No one could advance and no one could retreat. So they dug in further and further and further. And so they would sit in these trenches and they would run supplies down and they would lob stuff over, hoping that the other side would, or persons, would give up. And vice versa. This area in between was called no man's land. It's where nobody wins, where nothing good happens. There are poems, just look them up, all over our world of no man's land, of the pain, of what it was like to spend years, and it was literal years, in these trenches, bogged down in mud and feces and disease and sort of this low energy of what are we going to do to break this stalemate. And I think that this armistice conversation has a lot to do with our relationships and where we can get stuck and polarized in one view or another. And I'm seeing that in our country. I'm seeing that in our relationships. I'm seeing that in my coaching with families. So when we're at a stalemate and we dig in and we refuse to yield, there's no ability to move forward. It's kind of like, I'll do it if you do it. Right? Or I'll give something up if you give something up, and there's a stubbornness and there's a righteousness to it, and I think we're at a point where we have to explore this. So with this, these stuck tendencies, what I want to do is acknowledge that if we can't move forward, we can't create change. And right now we're in a phase of dismantling that which doesn't work. It isn't sort of like we go, okay, I give up and you win. It's like, I'm going to dismantle your side, and I hope you dismantle your side, and whatever happens, happens, because I'm willing to co-create something new. Does that make sense? So I'm going to also include the Hermetic principle of polarity. So I posted on my Facebook page a little bit more about the Hermetic principles from Huffington Post about 2 years ago. It's a really good explanation, so go check that out as well. So the Hermetic principle of polarity is when opposites share the same nature. It's like, you know, whenever we have something that's one thing on this side and one thing on this side, they're probably really equally balanced, or they wouldn't be locked into into the tension. Makes sense, doesn't it? Because if you're huge and you're trying to have a relationship with this one, you just kind of end up squelching it, and there's no real tension. The tension arises when two completely different looking or presenting energies have the same energy underneath the surface, and they get locked in. So even though they share the same energy and they can get locked in, it's about our own experiences. It's about the way we see the world. It's about what we believe and where our belief systems get in the way. So when two people get stuck in that push-pull, there's got to be another option. There's got to be another way out, right? So let's go through a little bit of an exercise first on what that tension, how to really feel this. So 2 energies, 2 separate vibrations. I know you don't know if that's possible, but let's do this. I'm going to walk you through an exercise. It's going to take a few minutes, and You can either do it now while you're watching this, or you can go back and review this and really pause it and flesh it out and let yourself feel this. So first we're going to start with standing in one place. Just find a spot, pick another spot about 3 or 4 feet away, and we're going to play with the distance between those two. So start in this first spot and just settle yourself. Put your feet on the ground. Put your body above your feet. Bring your breath into balance and just become present for a moment. And then what I would like you to do is take those worries that you hold in your body, those worries that you hold in your head, those worries about maybe our political climate, maybe our culture, maybe our world, those worries you have about your relationship, those worries you have about your children, or about finances, or about time, whatever that is for you, bring it in and let it start to kind of conjure up around your body. Bring it in and feel it. And then when you can actually feel the depth of this worry, identify where it is. Is it right here between your forehead, where you can sort of bring your forehead together and scrunch on something? Is it in your throat because you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do? Is it in your your upper chest where you're having a hard time breathing? Is it in your jaw where you clench it and you start to grind in? And does that affect your stomach or your bowels? Is it in your upper back and your shoulders where they start to pull together? Where else does it show up in your body? Identify that. Thank it for talking to you, telling you what's going on. This is where you hold your worry. Now, step number 2 in this exercise is to go look at that other spot on the floor and imagine that that spot is the exact opposite of everything that you're feeling. The exact opposite. And go over and stand on it. Take a deep breath. Make sure you got your back to that other spot, because you don't want to have to deal with that if you don't want to, right? That worry. Go stand in this other spot and close your eyes and breathe. Notice, does your chest open up? Does your neck relax? Does your throat open? Does your jaw relax? Do your hands start to loosen up? Can you relax that spot in your forehead? What else is going on? What does it feel like to be in a place where there's exuberant relief from that worry? And then what I'd like you to do later on as you play with this is go back and forth between those two. And notice how your body sort of amps up when you go into worry and relaxes out when you go off of worry. So how is it that 2 random spots on the ground can conjure up all of this emotion, all of this energy that's equal, right? That's playing against. I have total peace and relaxation in my body, and I have total worry. We're still the sort of the energy source behind those two, and they're still stuck. So my friend Rebecca Johns, she's a coach that I've worked with for years out of Montana. She did a presentation at the Global Gathering for the Transformational Presence Leadership and Coaches, and she talked about the wisdom spot, which is where you can sort of stand in worry, right? And you can stand in the complete opposite of that, whatever you want to call that: relaxed breath, peace. And then you have these two, right? And for what we talked about was, or what Rebecca presented and what I've been able to pass along, is this third spot, which is called the wisdom spot, where you can look over and go, this is what I know my body to be when I'm relaxed. This is what I know my body to be when I'm worried. And then I can go back and forth between these two constantly. I can be worried and become aware of it and catch my breath and then go over here to relaxation. And then something will trigger me and I will go over there. What the wisdom spot does is it gives us perspective. It gives us wisdom. It gives us patience. It gives us an ability to observe on a different level. It gives us the ability to be curious. And it kind of brings us into a gentle phrase where we could go, oh, that's what happens when I worry. Or, oh, yes, that's so lovely. when I'm actually relaxed. And so from this wisdom spot, we can hold both of those, and we can honor them, and we can be compassionate with them. We can be compassionate with ourselves for having them, right? And we can stand back and not be involved, not get stuck in the tension. We can then step back to the wise sage. And I brought this card, which is the Empress. It's the 3 in the major arcana on the tarot deck. It's the divine feminine. It's the ability to be receptive, responsive, fluid. And I've done so many videos on this topic. When we can step out of our locked in, harnessed, stuck modes and come back to this 3rd spot, we can allow something different to happen, something else to be presented, and something else to respond to, so that we could move fluidly between the two. We've given ourselves permission for breath, for peace, for curiosity, for co-creation. Isn't that what we all want? I think so. So I'm going to close with the Rumi quote, which is one of my favorites, which is, out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I want to meet you there. I will meet you there. Which is, I'm going to step out of my locked in stubbornness, my locked in righteousness, my locked in right doing or wrong doing, and I'm going to step to another place where anything can happen, and I'm going to meet you there. So this is the kind of stuff that I do when I coach. We work on dislodging, dismantling old behaviors between a mother and a child, or a husband and a wife, or a family system, or you and how you view your life and your work. So if this is something that you're interested in, you can find me on DeniseDrydenCoaching.com, and have a fabulous Armistice Day, November 11th. Have a fabulous fall. Have a fabulous Sunday, and enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye.